Happy Monday, guys. All right, here we are, about to start studying our second ancient civilization. Okay, right? On Friday, should have finished up Egypt. Today, we are going to start looking at Mesopotamia. Okay, so let's kind of get a quick context here of where we're at. This is Egypt, right? Obviously, down here on the map. This is what we studied all of last week. Okay, and if you move just a little ways on, all right, over here, just a little bit to the east, you come to the area that is known as Mesopotamia. Now, Mesopotamia is a word that actually translates to land between the rivers. Okay, so technically, it's actually a small area. Sometimes we kind of generously label it as a bigger region, but technically, Mesopotamia is really only the land that is between these two rivers, and they're kind of hard to see. They're not real big, but you can kind of see them on the map. This right here is the Euphrates River. Okay, and it flows right there. And then this right here is the Tigris River. Okay, it gets kind of narrow, and then they actually flow together almost basically right down here. So this area right in here, in between the rivers, is technically Mesopotamia. All right. Again, sometimes people will refer to the whole kind of region on both sides of the rivers as Mesopotamia, but if you're being absolutely accurate, it's just the land between the rivers. So let me give you a little bit of idea of kind of how Egypt and Mesopotamia are obviously similar and different, right? You're going to have to do this as a question. I'm not going to give you three like you have to name on the assignment, but let me give you just a couple big ones here. So clearly, Egypt was quite desert-like. Okay, almost all of it was desert. If you look over here at Mesopotamia, it's largely the same. Okay, I mean, it's a very dry, arid area. It's not as dry as Egypt, but it's not getting substantial rainfall every year. Okay, and that's why it looks so brown and dry here on the map. Now, one big difference though is that we really touched a lot on Egypt's isolation. Right, let me move over here towards Egypt again. Remember, it's isolated to the south. It's isolated to the west. It's isolated largely to the east and to the north, right, by the Mediterranean Sea. Now, if you get over here then to Mesopotamia, if I put that in the center of the map, you notice that, in fact, Mesopotamia is not as isolated. Okay, perhaps here to the west, right, there's a substantial desert. And even though this area looks quite dry out here, in fact, it's rather fertile. It's easily able to sustain life for the most part, and there's enough water that an army could easily move across it. And so from the east, Mesopotamia is really not very isolated. From the north, it's not very isolated, right? There's a little bit of a mountain range right here, but it's not a very big one. And then also from this direction, right, from the west, it's not isolated really either. And so what we're going to see is, even though as we studied Egypt as a civilization last week, for a whole week, we're going to study numerous different groups this week that are all going to move into Mesopotamia, take it over, and make it their own empire and their own civilization. All right, because it's not isolated, right? It's not real protected. It's just kind of right in the middle of the world, and everybody's like, "Oh, look, two really nice rivers that flood and provide great agriculture. Hey, let's move there." Okay, and so that's a big difference, is that it's not very isolated. Lots of different groups going to come in, move in, and take it over. All right, that was just a short overview. You're going to want to use this video. You're also going to want to read pages 14 through 17 today for your assignment, which is an assignment about early people in Mesopotamia. All right, so you have to base it on the textbook and this video, and also a couple map resources that I attached in the daily folder. All right, good luck.